Good evening, everybody. It is Steve Lookner with Agenda Free TV. There is a new Russian attack going on, missile and drone attack against Kyiv, Ukraine, the capital, and other cities in Ukraine. So we wanted to give you an update on the situation as this is going on. We'll be taking some of your comments and questions here. I want to show you some. I just saw a post right now, cruise missiles from the east toward Kyiv. So let me get on the screen for you here. I'm going to show you a couple things. Give me a moment. Let me just pull this up here and see if I can get this displayed for you. This here is a running... That's that's the telegram feed from the Ukrainian Air Force. If you look down at the bottom there, it says cruise missiles from the east towards Kyiv, and that was posted 2 minutes ago. 3 minutes ago, groups of strike drones in the southern part of Kyiv. That was 3 minutes ago. 5 minutes ago, cruise missiles in the north of Kyiv. 10 minutes ago, cruise missile groups from Chernihiv and Poltava regions toward Kyiv. So missiles and drones. Boryspil, by the way, is in Kyiv region. And it also says cruise missiles in the Boryspil area. So give me a moment here. Yeah, I don't have the rights to Intel cams. Intel cams has some cams up from Ukraine. That's Intel cams. You can check that out over on YouTube. So again, let me try to get you some other reporting here from some Ukrainian sources. But this is ongoing right now. About 2 minutes ago, Truka Ukraine, which is a Ukrainian news outlet, said loud. They also report in the last couple minutes 3 missiles on Holosilvsky district, 2 missiles on Zhulanyi Solomyanka, another group of missiles, they said, to Kyiv. So again, large missile and drone attack ongoing against Kyiv, Ukraine by Russia. Again, just to show you this again, in the last few minutes, you can see this is 4 minutes ago, cruise missiles from the east towards Kyiv. 5 minutes ago, groups of strike drones in the southern part of Kyiv. 6 minutes ago, cruise missiles in the Boryspil region, which is Kyiv region. Boryspil area, that's in Kyiv region. Cruise missiles in the north of Kyiv, that would be 7 minutes ago. So there has already been missile and drones launched at Kyiv a little earlier. I know an apartment building apparently got hit and sustained severe damage, which I don't have the rights. Well, at some point I may get a live shot from that, so I'll let you know if I do. Give me one moment here. I'll also show you this. This is from Reuters here. Oops, let me do this. Let me just do this real quick. Hang on. Okay, now. This is from Reuters. Ukrainian capital Kyiv under missile attack, officials say. This was a report from 20 minutes ago. This is still ongoing. The Ukrainian capital Kyiv came under a Russian missile attack early on Monday, and officials said residents were trapped inside a badly damaged building near the city center. Reuters witnesses reported a series of explosions in and around the capital and said air defenses were also in action against Russian drones. Mayor Vitaly Klitschko, writing on Telegram, said a residential building had been hit in the historic Podil district. People are trapped on the 7th to 9th floors, he said. I'm going to check out his post shortly. He said drone debris had fallen on a second residential building in the same area and in other districts of the city of 3 million. At least 30 people were killed in Kyiv on Tuesday when Russia launched hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles at the city. Give me a moment here. Union, which is a Ukrainian news outlet, says, according to media reports, the Varshavsky residential complex is on fire as a result of the combined attack. Oh, update, new update. Look at this. New missiles heading towards Kyiv right now. This is from the Ukrainian Air Force. Look at the bottom update right there. It just got posted. New groups of cruise missiles from the east toward Kyiv right now. Give me a quick moment again. Just want to pull up a map here in case I need to display anything. Here is a map. Hang on. Yeah, so there's Russia is here, Ukraine is here, Kyiv is here. So we'll keep an eye out. If I have to pull up this map, I can show you things. But we're talking about Kyiv right here in Ukraine. Now, what else is being reported? Oops, I need to take 2 seconds here. Now, I won't have, like live video of like, generally speaking, I know Intel Cams has some stuff, but generally speaking, I don't have access to live video of like missiles coming in. But it's possible that there will be some sort of live video that pops up from one of the damage sites that unfortunately has been damaged, because that does happen sometime. So if I get any video of that stuff, I'll certainly let you know. In the meantime, bringing you the latest updates. Okay. I want to show you also what the mayor of Kyiv said. So again, new missiles approaching Kyiv, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. What's this? Kyiv City Military Administration. Now, who are they quoting? Oh, okay. Hang on. Okay, guys, here is some updates from Timur Kachenko, who is with the Kyiv City. He's the head of the Kyiv City Military Administration. Let me show you what he is updating. Oops. So he says here, in the Podolsky district, a 25-story building on the 16th floor was damaged as a result of the attack. People are trapped in a high-rise building in the Podolsky district. Cars are burning in the Podolsky district. That was about an hour ago. And then the Kyiv City Military Administration, yeah, they've been forwarding his stuff. Oh, and here is something from the mayor of Kyiv, Klitschko. He just posted a couple minutes ago, 3 injured in the capital. 1 woman was hospitalized by doctors. 2 others injured were treated on an outpatient basis. Also, reports of possibly people trapped in 1 or more buildings. But a number of missiles being reported at the moment. Yes. Now, Lidwine Elizabeth says we're close to a NATO meeting. So President Zelensky had given a warning today about that he believed Russia might attack soon Kyiv. Here. Is this in English or was this? Right. So President Zelensky of Ukraine had posted earlier today saying intelligence once again indicates Russians are preparing a new massive strike. This is typical of Putin right after America's Independence Day and before the NATO summit in Ankara. Russia wants to bring more evil and kill people, said Zelensky earlier today. Please stay safe and heed any air raid alerts. Separately to partners, any delay with missiles for our air defense, missiles for Patriots means the loss of lives and it encourages Russia to continue the war. The world has the necessary quantity and quality of air defense. What is needed are your decisions to ensure real protection for lives in Ukraine. Above all, there are, of course, decisions by the U.S., decisions by the strong countries in Europe and around the world. Please be active in your decisions and protect lives. Missiles for Patriots are needed, not in warehouses right now, but in Patriot units in Ukraine. I thank everyone who's providing real help. I believe the NATO summit in Ankara starts on the 7th. By the way, I do want to thank our moderators who are here. We have moderating right now. Ruth is moderating over there on YouTube. Thank you very much, Ruth. Bear with me for a second. We have moderating on Twitch. Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, and Surly Dev. Thank you for moderating there. Linda Belk, Larry, and Misha moderate for us on X. Also, I want to thank our Facebook moderators. We have moderating right now. Andrea Holder, Kay Lowry Body, Michael Furgal. Thanks, Kristen McConnell Gates and Dolly Clark for subscribing over there and Facebook. And also thank you to our Rumble moderators. Kay Body is moderating over on Rumble right now. We are streaming on Rumble for a couple weeks, checking out Rumble. Thanks to F5 for Tornado and HP Lovecraft watching over there. All right, let me try to get you some new updates from Ukraine. Oops. I need a moment here. Union, which is a Ukrainian news outlet, just posted 1 minute ago about 8 cruise missiles are flying towards Kyiv. Truka Ukraine, which is a Ukrainian news outlet, says, Kyiv, attention, new missiles are coming. It's going to be loud. Here is an update from the Ukrainian Air Force right now. Cruise missiles, so 2021, 2 minutes ago, cruise missiles near Brovary. I got to look up Brovary, but that was just posted. An ongoing large attack, missile and drones. Brovary is in Kyiv region. Oops, you'll see it in a second here. Brovary is, actually, let me do something real quick. Brovary is here. It's in the east of Kyiv region. So, as I was mentioning, about 2 minutes ago, the Ukrainian Air Force said cruise missiles near Brovary. New explosions right now reported in Ukraine. That is from Truka, Ukraine. They say new explosions. I would think maybe some interceptions happening now in Ukraine. Give me a quick second here. Sorry. I just need to pull something up myself so I can see it. Bear with me for a second here. Hang on one moment. One moment, please. Need to pull a couple things up so I can see. What did I just do? Okay, hang on one more second. And again, there's a large apartment building that has been hit tonight. Bunch of, if I get video or photos I can show you of that I have the rights to, I will show it to you. Okay, so Truka, Ukraine says right now there are explosion sounds in Kyiv. Multiple sources I'm following are saying that there are explosion sounds in Kyiv right now from this ongoing missile and drone attack by Russia. Oh, this I think is Ukraine state media. Yeah, National Public Broadcaster of Ukraine, State Media Ukraine, says a new series of explosions in the capital. Just getting reported right now, a new series of explosions in Kyiv ongoing now. We'll let you know what we hear. And I'm seeing an unconfirmed report. There's an unconfirmed report right now from Crimean Wind, which is a account that reports on events in and near Crimea, which is a part of Ukraine that Russia forcefully took over, occupied, I think back in 2014, 2015, around then. They say explosions are heard in Simferopol and Kerch. Let me show you what we're talking about here. If I can. I see Kerch. Yes. So, oops, you can't see what I'm looking at. There we go. So here is Crimea here, which again, Ukraine, uh, Russia invaded about a little over 10 years ago and occupies Crimea now. So Kerch is here. There's Kerch, and there's Simferopol. So Crimean Wind, which is a Telegram account that covers the region, they said about 25 minutes ago they were hearing reports of powerful explosions in Simferopol. Then just about 2 minutes ago, they said explosions continue in Kerch and something is already on fire. Presumably, it's the oil and gas terminal again. We'll talk about this in a bit, but there have been lots of, in recent months, Ukraine has really stepped up its attacks on Russian energy infrastructure. Gas shortages have been reported in a number of locations in Russia in recent months. Now, Truka Ukraine says right now, Truka Ukraine just posted 2 minutes ago, clear on missiles preliminary reconnaissance. So perhaps the latest wave of missiles is done in Kyiv. I'm not sure. We'll have to see. There have been multiple waves tonight. Insider UA just said about a minute ago, a landing of missile or missiles near residential buildings in Pozniaky, Kyiv. I don't know if any residential buildings got hit in this latest wave of missiles, so we'll keep an eye on that. And you can see here, I mean, just coming up very soon, NATO summit is coming up, as Lidwine Elizabeth had mentioned. You can see AP says, President Trump plans to meet with Ukrainian President Zelensky and Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara on Wednesday while attending the NATO summit in Turkey. Those discussions will come as Kyiv tries to refocus Trump's attention on the conflict with Moscow and as Trump has publicly mused about Syria's role in the Middle East. Trump also is going to be meeting with Turkey's President Erdogan on Tuesday. He will be returning to the U.S. on Wednesday, but he's supposed to have a news conference. We'll cover that, I assume. Trump's meeting with Zelensky, scheduled for Wednesday, comes as Russia's war in Ukraine is now in its 5th year. Both Zelensky and President Putin of Russia held phone calls with Trump yesterday, congratulating him on the July 4th commemoration of the 250th anniversary of American independence. Zelensky said in a statement on X after his call that he and Trump spoke about the situation on the front lines of the war, where analysts say Russian advances have sputtered. Ukraine has stepped up its attacks on Moscow and demonstrated its ability to strike deeper into Russia. Zelensky said there's a real prospect of ending this war and that conversation would continue at the NATO summit in Ankara. The Kremlin Foreign Affairs advisor Yuri Ushalkov said that in Putin's call with Trump yesterday, Trump reaffirmed his readiness to help achieve a quick cessation of hostilities and search for peaceful solutions to settle the crisis. A senior U.S. official who spoke to reporters Sunday on condition of anonymity said Trump feels a sense of urgency to bring the war to an end and will speak to Zelensky about how to do that. Trump is expected to follow up with Putin after Trump's meeting with Zelensky in Ankara, the official said. You can see at the bottom here, it says, as Trump has grown frustrated with Israel's war with Hezbollah in Lebanon, which has complicated negotiations in the Iran war, the U.S. leader has repeatedly stunned many in the region by suggesting that Syria instead fight Hezbollah. Al-Shara, Syria's leader, has said he has no interest in doing so. Anyways, that's the Syria thing's a bit different. But this NATO summit is starting on Tuesday, I believe. And is this some kind of message from Putin, this attack tonight? Is this a message from Putin? Well, specifically about the NATO summit coming up, or, I mean, there's been ongoing fighting. And again, there have been, in recent months, a lot of Ukrainian attacks on Russian energy infrastructure. Oh, hold on a moment here. We have a new update from the Ukrainian Air Force. Check this out. Look at the bottom here. The threat of ballistic missiles from the south. A new threat of ballistic missiles from the south, says the Ukrainian Air Force. By the way, a quick thank you to Crypto King for your support, Least Trustworthy Weasel. Deb N, thanks for being a member. TikTok Brody. Thanks for mentioning that TikTok. I don't know if we're going to get to it on this stream, but I appreciate you mentioning a TikTok Brody from Canada. Thanks that guy from Oregon for being a member. Bradley Lore, Just Ducky. Yeah, so I mean, this is not the first time that Russia has launched a significant attack on Ukraine, and I don't at all mean to be applying that it is, but I do think it's important, and I wanted to do some live coverage of it. Thank you also, D. Cates, our member, Wendy Knudsen, our member, the Hurricane Ben, our member, I Am Charlie for your support. Hang on a moment here. Also, Big Dog Gaming on Twitch, Tactical Toast on Twitch, Dom Corleone on Twitch, and Uncle Fester on Twitch. Thank you. Also, the Sugaro. Now, what is the latest? Okay, I am seeing a couple things. N12 News Israel says Kyiv reports residents trapped in building hit by Russian missile rescue forces working at site. Hold on a second here. I'm going to change the headline because at this point, I was hearing about some other areas facing possible attacks before I came on the air, but I'm mostly hearing about Kyiv right now. So, excuse me. So we're going to focus on Kyiv right now. Hang on. New Russian attack on Ukrainian capital Kyiv ongoing is what I want to say. So I will say this. This website, this Telegram account I follow that covers Ukrainian, the skies of Ukraine, basically, E-Monitor, they say there's a threat of Zircon hypersonic cruise missiles launched from the Crimean Peninsula, which is, I mean, right next to, well, it was part of Ukraine until, and then Russia invaded it about roughly a decade ago. But that would not give much lead time if they launched missiles from there. So we'll have to see what gets reported about that. Hang on. But yes, it sounds like there's a new threat of ballistic missiles in Kyiv. Give me a moment here. Yeah, that was posted about 4 minutes ago. The threat of ballistic missiles. Oh, I think that's what they meant. You know what? I think that's what they meant here, the Air Force. So when they said 4 minutes ago, the Air Force, the threat of ballistic weapons from the South, I think they were talking about Crimea. So again, here's Kyiv. Oops, you can't see it now. Here's Kyiv here. Crimea is here. Russian occupied Crimea, which is south of Kyiv, as you can see. So there's apparently a threat of ballistic launches, missile launches from Crimean Peninsula. Oh, what is this? Oh, now see, look at this right here. This is other regions. I just saw something about other regions being attacked. Guided aerial bombs. Okay, look, right here. This is the Ukrainian Air Force. A minute ago, KABs, which are guided aerial bombs, glide bombs, to Sumy in Donetsk regions. So that's Russia attacking other regions with guided aerial bombs, glide bombs. So, other regions under attack as well. I am seeing a fire at a residential complex in Kyiv. I don't have the rights to it, but Insider UA has a video of a fire at the Slavutich residential complex in Kyiv. Apartments on the upper floor are on fire, they are reporting. I will post a link to a picture in the chat, which is not the same picture, but I think it might be the same building. But this was there was a major Russian attack on Kyiv 5 days ago, where I think about 30 people died in Kyiv. That was just 5 days ago, and we have another one ongoing right now. James Perry says, how do we know Ukraine AA mist do not cause many of these types of fires? Well, look, I cannot confirm. I'm not there on the ground observing things myself with expertise. So the reports I'm seeing are that missiles have struck certain buildings tonight. If I hear reporting saying that they haven't, I'll let you know. I think it's quite obvious that Russia is and has often attacked Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine with many, many drones and missiles, often hundreds of missiles and dozens, often hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles in a single attack. So I don't think it should be surprising if what is causing these buildings to have explosions is actually Russian missiles and drones. Ewan McDonald, who I follow, says an apartment building was struck by shoot-down debris in Kyiv. Oh, okay, look at this. This is interesting. This is from the Ukrainian Air Force. Look at the bottom there. They just posted, repel the threat of ballistic weapons from the south. Maybe they're talking about Crimea. That kind of sounds like maybe they shot down missiles coming from the south, although I don't know if that's the case. But I think that's what they mean by that. I'll see if I can find any other reporting on that. But that's from the Ukrainian Air Force. Update also, Crimean Wind, which is a Telegram account I follow. They report that they got a report of 2 explosions in Kerch again, one powerful one in the terminal area. Kerch is part of Russian-occupied Crimea. Well, it's part of Crimea, which is occupied by Russia. Kerch is here. So they just said about 3 minutes ago, there were 2 explosions in Kerch again, one powerful one in the terminal area. I think they might mean an oil or gas terminal. So I cannot confirm that. I'll let you know what I hear more. I am seeing another report of a building on fire. Truka, Ukraine has a video that appears to be a apartment building on fire. If I can get some more links to this stuff, I will certainly pass it along for you. Oh, here's I'm going to post a link in the chat, which is purported video of a new strike. CNN reports that. So remember, in Kyiv right now, in Ukraine right now, it is the 6th, right? Ukraine is July 6th. CNN says that Kyiv came under attack by Russian ballistic missiles on the eve of a critical NATO summit in Turkey that President Trump will be attending. And as I mentioned, Ukrainian President Zelensky had warned that, I mean, here it is right here again from President Zelensky. He had said earlier on July 5th, intelligence once again indicates the Russians are preparing a new massive strike. This is typical of Putin right after America's Independence Day and before the NATO summit in Ankara. Sounds like they had good intelligence. The Roshan building in Kyiv. Can I find that on the map? I don't know if I can. I don't know where it was. Again, a new building reportedly on fire from a new hit in Ukraine, in Kyiv. Checking some other sources here. I'd like to give you, oh, there's another, I'm seeing another video of possibly a high-rise building on fire in Kyiv. By the way, thanks Jeff TE88PFCR. Jeff says Zelensky is a criminal. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks, Nick Rose. No, Nick, I don't hear any discussion about, I have not heard any kind of reporting suggesting that any kind of nuclear weapons use is imminent. I'll certainly let you know if I do, but I have not heard anything of such. In this war. Lexter 50, I mean, there was at one point, I think it was being talked about several years ago as possibly something that maybe there was an increased risk of, but I have not heard much about that lately. I'll certainly let you know if I do. Thanks, Nick, for being a member. Thanks, Lexter56 for being a member. Thanks, Benny Hill, for the memberships. And Sabra576, and also Crypto King. Thank you. Now, let's see what's being reported here. Again, if I happen to get, yeah, so it's very possible that I would get, a lot of times when these attacks happen, there's live video that comes out after the attack is over, of like one of the buildings that's been damaged. But I don't believe that you're going to see that until the attack is over. But if I see it, as soon as I see it, I'll let you know and put it on the screen. Oh, in the current time, I'm sorry, I should tell you that. The current time is 3:51 a.m. 3:51 a.m. is the time in Kyiv. Let me also see if I can show you, I'd like to show you some background on the, I do have some things I can show you, but about the Ukrainian strikes on Russian energy infrastructure recently. Yeah, so for example, this is a story here from a couple days, from July 4th, from yesterday. A Ukrainian drone attack hit an oil terminal in St. Petersburg on Saturday, Russian officials said, as Kyiv presses on with bombardment of Russia's oil infrastructure. Almost daily long-range attacks on Russian oil facilities have created a fuel crisis in Russia and heaped political pressure on the Kremlin as its all-out invasion of Ukraine stretches into its 5th year. Governor Alexander Beglov said St. Petersburg's Kirovsky district on the Baltic Sea was hit. He also said that air defenses shot down 72 Ukrainian drones across Russia's second largest city and the surrounding region. Ukrainian President Zelensky described the attack on the St. Petersburg oil terminal as part of Ukraine's, quote, long-range sanctions against Russia. He said that Ukrainian forces also hit a military target on the island of Kronstadt, just off the coast of St. Petersburg. In a post on Telegram, he said the Ukrainian Defense Forces hit the port oil infrastructure, which earns money for the Russian war, and there were also hits on Kronstadt, an important military target he said in a post on Telegram. I wonder if I can pull that up for you, his post about that. Which would have been from Saturday. Here it is right here. So this is a post from Zelensky. I'll actually make the video bigger for you. Actually, I'm going to leave it like that. I don't know. Let me just leave that right there. He said this was yesterday. On July 4th, he said, last night our Ukrainian long-range sanctions against Russia over this war reached targets near St. Petersburg. Ukraine's defense forces struck port oil infrastructure that generates revenue for Russia's war. And there were also successful strikes on Kronstadt, an important military target. The distance from Ukraine's state border is more than 850 kilometers, more than 500 miles. He said, my thanks to everyone who is ensuring Ukraine's precision in carrying out our long-range sanctions plan. Glory to Ukraine. You can see here, AP reported yesterday, Ukrainian attacks bring the war home. Oh, before he said, the AP says the Crimean Peninsula, which we've been talking about, which Russia annexed in 2014, has suffered particularly from heavy strikes recently, causing local authorities to suspend gasoline sales to civilians. A Ukrainian attack on Saturday killed one person and injured two more, said the Moscow installed governor. Russian President Putin has shrugged off Ukraine's strikes on Russia's energy facilities as, quote, not critical, and insisted the war will continue until his goals are met. Putin has described the attacks on Russian energy as an effort by Ukraine to distract attention from its losses on the battlefield, although analysts say the advance of Russian forces has been stymied in recent months. Putin appears to believe his government can keep the fuel crisis from eroding his authority and support for the war he launched more than 4 years ago. At the very least, the Ukrainian attacks have brought the war home even more poignantly for millions of Russians, shattering Putin's narrative of the conflict as something that doesn't affect the daily lives of ordinary people in his country. Hang on a moment here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 moment. Give me 1 second. Oops, I'm hearing two of myself. I'm hearing two of myself. Up, I am seeing now drone heading towards Dnieper. That's from E-Monitor. I assume that's a Russian drone. Oh, I can see it right here. This is new from the Ukrainian Air Force. They just posted again. Ukrainian Air Force says, enemy tactical, okay. First of all, they say drone on the Dnieper River. I don't know where on the Dnieper River they mean. Also, warning, Russian tactical aviation activity in the eastern direction, the threat of using air weapons by Russia for frontline areas. You can see down at the bottom there. That was just posted about 3 minutes ago. So I think they're talking about, maybe Donetsk region. Let me actually show you also deep state map. It's a good map of the current state of deepstatemap.live. Hold on a moment here. This is, oops, this is Deep State Map, which you can pull up at deepstatemap.live. And and they also have, you can, it's I believe it's in both Ukrainian and English. You can toggle that. But so you can see here, you know what I want to turn off? I want to turn off maybe these things for the moment. Turn off the units in the headquarters and the airfields and the railways. This is direction of attack, those arrows. But what you can see here is that this here, the key is, where's the key? Info and legend. The stuff in red was occupied by Russia in 2014 and 2015. And the stuff in this brownish orange is parts of Ukraine occupied during the war, during the current war. Well, but since the Russian invasion. So when you hear that there's a threat on the Eastern Front line, this would be the Eastern Front line here, which is within Ukrainian territory, but this is the part occupied by Russia here. The green is territory that was originally occupied by Russia after the invasion and then freed by Ukraine. But that's Deep State. I'm going to post a link to this map, deepstatemap.live. All right, now what am I? Oh, okay. Here is an update from the Kyiv head of military administration in Kyiv, Ukraine. Hold on a second here. I'm going to show you an update he just posted. Timur Kachenko. He is basically the security military head of Kyiv. He posted 4 minutes ago, he said, as of now, we have information that high-rise buildings in 3 different locations in the Darnitsky district of Kyiv were damaged as a result of the attack. These are residential buildings, places where people slept and lived their normal lives. He says Russia continues to fire missiles at civilians. He says 5 people have been injured in the attack so far. Those tolls can go up too. We saw that with the attack on Tuesday, where I believe 30 people were killed. Where is the, okay. And again, I can't, I don't have the rights. I'm seeing some video of buildings on fire and fire near buildings. What is this? Hang on. If I do get any live shots during this stream from Kyiv, I'll let you know. I'm guessing there'll be some eventually. I just don't know how long it'll take for those shots to come out. Oh, Status 6 posted what appears to supposedly a video of reportedly a missile attacking one of the high-rise buildings tonight, or missile hitting one of the high-rise buildings in Kyiv. I'll post a link to that in the chat. Again, I don't have the rights to the video. I just posted the link in the chat. And then I'm going to post a couple videos that supposedly show damage at a residential apartment building as well. Oh, EPMR said there was a Russian confectionery factory was hit by a Russian strike in Kyiv. There's a video of that apparently on fire, which I'll post in the chat as well. Oh, there's another video here. Another video. Again, I'm sorry, I don't have the rights to these videos, but I'm posting them in the chat. The links in the chat for you. Okay. Now, the second major attack on Kyiv by Russia in less than a week. And United 24, which I think is a Ukrainian outlet. Oh, it's a Ukrainian government platform, I think. Let me just see here. Yeah, so it's a state-sponsored media. Okay, United 24. So I can show you something from there. This is what United 24 posted this photo here. If you'll see it right here. They said that this happened before we came on the air. They said that was a Kyiv residential building that had been hit by a missile strike in Kyiv. You can see there from United 24 Media. They say that it left residents trapped between the 7th and 9th floors of that residential building in the city's Podilsky district. All right, give me a moment here. And this comes after, let me show you something else here. Hold on a moment. Hang on. So just last Tuesday, this was last Tuesday. You can see it says, rescuers scour rubble as Kyiv mourns deadliest Russian attack this year. That was last Tuesday. Rescuers sifted through rubble, this is from 2 days ago, in a search for survivors on Friday in Kyiv as the Ukrainian capital observed a day of mourning, a day after Russian missile and drone attack. Oh, was it Thursday? I thought it was Tuesday. When was that attack? I thought it was Tuesday. Was that attack on Thursday? I'm sorry if I was wrong about that. Hold on a second. I may have had the day wrong. Thursday. I'm sorry. I had it totally wrong. Okay, so Thursday was the attack on Kyiv that killed at least 30 people. That was just Thursday. Today's Sunday. So it's the second in 4 days. It's the second in 4 days. At least 30 people were killed in the deadliest strike on Kyiv on Thursday. Well, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's the second in 5 days, because it's technically Monday there, second in 5 days. That attack wounded 92 people, said the mayor. Also, a Russian drone attack on a house in northern Sumy region killed 4 people. That was last week. In recent months, Reuters says, Ukraine has slowed Russian advances on the 1,200-kilometer front line and has retaken territory in some areas. Ukraine has stepped up long-range attacks inside Russia, focusing largely on energy infrastructure and military-related targets, but also damaging civilian sites. Strikes on oil refineries in Russia and other oil energy-related targets have triggered a fuel crisis, forcing the world's third biggest oil producer to import gasoline. Russia has responded with a stepped-up air campaign against Ukrainian cities, last month hitting a 1,000-year-old Kyiv cathedral, foundational to the Orthodox faith in both countries. Now, so again, just last Thursday, there was a major attack on Kyiv that killed at least 30 people. Let me show you, I have a video here. Here's a video from a few days ago, from last Thursday, well, from what happened last Thursday. This is from Reuters here. So you can see it says, residents of a heavily damaged Kyiv apartment block recover what remains of their belongings. So I think this video was taken maybe on Friday.
Our apartment is on the 9th floor, right next to the one that was destroyed. Some of our belongings inside were left untouched, but there are no windows or doors left. Part of the wall was broken through during the rescue of a woman. The apartment is no longer livable, and neither is the building, as you can see.
Dozens were killed in the attack that damaged the building, the deadliest Russian strike on Kyiv this year, says Reuters. And that was just Thursday. Okay. Now, do we have any updates from right now? I am hearing about possibly a oil refinery attacked in Russia. Some reports, a report coming in of that. In Yaroslavl, Russia. Well, I'm not sure. Is it light there? Yaroslavl sunrise. Oh, it is light there. Sunrise right now around 3:26 a.m. It's actually 4:14 a.m. Let me show you where that is. So I am seeing a report of a new Ukrainian attack on an oil refinery, I think it is, in Yaroslavl, Russia. Here's Yaroslavl, Russia. well behind the well away from the border with Ukraine. I mean, we're talking about, roughly speaking, about almost 500 miles from the border, Yaroslavl, Russia. And according to this news account I follow called Supernova Plus, they claim that an oil refinery has been attacked in Yaroslavl, Russia, and they have video of smoke in the sky. So we'll see if we hear more about that. Back to Kyiv. Here's a report from the Kyiv military administration. I just saw this. Look at the bottom from 6 minutes ago. In the Podolsky district, as a result of an attack, 4 different locations were hit at once. All 4 are residential buildings, says the Kyiv military administration. Aaron 1 thinks our viewer thinks Ukraine has been putting the hammer down. Treasure Please said a couple minutes ago, Treasure Please, I don't know if Treasure Please is watching like Intel cams or something. Treasure Please claimed there was a big blast of smoke rising in Kyiv. Just saw another blast right now. A couple minutes ago, RXet said a large explosion in Kyiv. Are you watching that on Intel cams? Let me see what I hear here. Oh, update about explosions in Kyiv. Insider UA account I follow claims that the repeated explosions in Kyiv, I assume that's the last few minutes, are related to the detonation of a high explosive charge. No aerial targets are being detected over the city at the moment. Again, unconfirmed report I'm seeing of an attack on the oil refinery in Yaroslavl, Russia. Thank you, Sabra, for your support. Sabra says, too much hate and death. Thank you, Lieutenant Head, who thinks Russia cannot win on the battlefield, so they attack schools, hospitals, apartment buildings, shopping malls. Lieutenant Head thinks Ukraine has the bravest people on earth. Thank you, God Frieza from New Zealand, who thinks Russia wins because Ukraine won't part with the Donbass or Donetsk. Good reason for Putin to probe Poland. NATO will not put up the same response. I should mention that report from a few days ago in the Telegraph. I don't know if that's true. Thanks again to our moderators who are here as we cover the second major attack by Russia on Kyiv in 5 days. Ruth is moderating over on YouTube. Thank you so much, Ruth. On Twitch, we have Bastion Girl, Big Ball of Yarn, Idaho Star, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah, and Surly Dev. Also, thanks on Twitch to Kendra Fox, to Ma Florida for subscribing. Thanks, Douthis, for the gift sub on Twitch. Thank you, Douthis. Big Dog Gaming as well. Tactical Toasts as well. Also, Linda Belglary and Misha moderate for us on X. Thanks also to our Facebook moderators. Give me a moment here. Paul Anderson, Michael Fergal. Thanks. K. Lowry Body. And also our Rumble moderators. We are streaming on Rumble for a couple weeks, trying that out. K. Body and Lovey moderating over on Rumble. Okay, let's see here. Oh, hold on. Okay, here is an update from the mayor. Update from the mayor of Kyiv, Klitschko, Mayor Klitschko. Here it is at the bottom of your screen. Rescuers evacuated 15 people from a partially destroyed building in the Podilsky district of Ukraine. 3 women and 6 children were taken from the upper floors, he said. The apartment buildings on both sides of the building were destroyed. The search for the injured is ongoing. In total, right now, 7 people have been injured in the capital. 2 of them were hospitalized. That doesn't sound good. I wanted to mention there was an interesting article in the Telegraph. And again, I haven't seen this reported anywhere else. Although I think they might have been doing there might have been reporting in a Polish outlet on this. Hold on. I actually posted. I might have a gift link to that I can post in the chat to the article. If you give me a second, I'll try to. Yes. I don't know that that's a gift link. I don't think it's a gift link. But I'll post a link to the article anyway, so you can check it out if you want. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds here. What happened here? No, I think this is, yes, this is a gift link. Hold on. I'm going to post a link to the gift link for you to read the article if you want to read it. So what the Telegraph posted, and again, I just posted the link in the chat. I hope it works. What the Telegraph posted several days ago, this was actually 2 days ago, they claim that the U.S. has warned that Russia is planning an armed provocation on Polish soil to test NATO's resolve. That's what they claim. They say that it could involve Russia targeting Polish infrastructure with missiles or drones. Russian soldiers could cross the border into NATO territory. Where they say they're getting this from, they say that the Telegraph is owned by Axel Springer, which also owns the Polish news outlet Onet. And they say that they have heard that the U.S. has issued several warnings to the Polish government about this plot. And the goal of this plot, says the Telegraph, would be to escalate tensions and force Western allies to suspend aid to Ukraine. And they also say this could happen in a matter of months. Now, I have no idea if this is true. Again, I'll post the link in the chat. It should be a gift link. But, and they say that in the article that what might happen is that Russia would do something claiming it's self-defense or some kind of mistake, but it would involve some sort of attack or, violation of Poland's borders. There could be a drone attack, simulated airstrikes, but some kind of provocation involving Poland. There could be, Russia could claim, our drones accidentally went into Poland. They say that Russia could claim they were mounting a rescue mission to retrieve a helicopter or something. And again, they talk about that maybe Russia would be hoping they could get some negotiations out of all this, and they could demand an end to Western support from Ukraine. I have no idea. But what I will say is this. I read you some reporting earlier which talks about Russia hasn't been, reportedly its efforts on the ground in Ukraine in recent months have not been super successful. Also, Ukraine is increasing the reach of its attacks inside Russia. There's a gas shortage in numerous parts of Russia right now due to Ukrainian attacks on oil infrastructure. So, is there a world in which Putin says to himself, I got to change things up here. I got to change the trajectory. I don't know. Again, if you want to read the article, you can read the article. Bastion Girl says it's been a stalemate on the ground. So it's an interesting idea. I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want things to escalate more. But again, I haven't heard that anywhere else. It was a couple days ago in the Telegraph. Our viewer Remo Williams said nothing would surprise me. David Joe Klotz says, I believe nothing the Telegraph publishes. I mean, one of our viewers said, I believe everything the Telegraph publishes. Jody Scott says, not going to happen. But again, the report is not that they're going to launch a full-scale attack on Poland. It's that there'll be some sort of armed provocation. So one of the goals of doing such a thing, says the Telegraph, would be to expose NATO as a paper tiger without triggering a conventional war. Right, anyways, so I wanted to mention that. Oh, I am seeing, hold on, breaking news. Breaking news, we have more missiles, more Russian missiles reported now. Here is the Ukrainian Air Force. Missiles in Sumy region heading towards Chernihiv region. Let me show you where this is. All right, so there's Sumy. Sumy is here. And then, I forget where Chernihiv region is. Here's Kyiv. Sumy is, oh, you can't see what I'm looking at. Sorry. Sumy is here, just across the border. Kyiv is over here. Chernihiv is here. So there are reported, again, they say missiles are currently over Sumy region, heading to the west, but, heading here. It says heading towards Chernihiv region, Priluki. I'll draw on the screen. I can do this. Look. So this is what they just said. It may be more missiles heading towards Kyiv right now. So I'll draw it for you. We have on the screen, there is Sumy. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's try this again. All right. There's Sumy. So the missiles are over Sumy, and they're heading towards this area right now, according to the Air Force, which is Prilukki. And as you can see, if they keep going in that direction, they'll get to Kyiv. So that is what they said. At the bottom there, it says missiles in Sumy region heading towards Prilukki. All right, so maybe there may be more missiles coming into Kyiv now. Breaking news, 3 people now reported dead in Kyiv. The head of the Kyiv military administration just posted, unfortunately, 3 people have died as the result of this latest attack. That number could go up, but that was just announced. You can see this here. He said a little earlier that a fire had broken out in 4 different residential buildings in Kyiv in the Podilsky district as a result of this attack. So it sounds like more missiles are on the way now, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. A popular account I follow, Nikolaevsky Vanyak, said that he believes that these new missiles that were just reported by the Ukrainian Air Force are going to head towards Kyiv. E-Monitor, who I follow, they believe the new missiles are headed towards Kyiv as well. All right, so this attack is still apparently ongoing now. The second major attack on Kyiv by Russia in the last 5 days. It comes the day before the start of the NATO summit in Turkey, where President Trump is supposed to meet with President Zelensky of Ukraine. Oh, now, Ewan McDonald, who I follow, said a minute ago, huge explosion in Western Kyiv right now, sound of interceptors launching. Lots of secondary explosions, like an ammo depot was hit. It's been going on for several minutes, he said. I don't know what's up with that. Here again is that report just a couple minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, from the Ukrainian Air Force. They say missiles in Sumy region heading towards Chernihiv region, which is in the direction of Kyiv. Prilukki is in the direction of Kyiv. Now, this is unconfirmed. Oh, hold on a second. A new update from Ukrainian Air Force. Here it is. Yes, they're heading towards the Kyiv region. The Ukraine Air Force, look at the bottom there. A group of missiles in the Chernihiv region now, passing by Prilukki and heading towards the Kyiv region. That's what we were just talking about. We were looking at the map. And I showed you on the map, as I showed you before, they originally said the missiles were, they originally said that the missiles were in Sumy region. Then they said they were heading towards Prilukki. If I'm saying that right, Prilukki. But now they're passing by there and they're headed towards Kyiv region. Okay. This is a group of missiles headed towards the Kyiv region. I don't know if it's Kyiv city, but it very well might be. Waiting to get updates. So there have been several waves of missiles during this attack. And then what is this? Oh, Truka Ukraine says 2 groups of cruise missiles passing through Brovary on their way to Kyiv. That's according to Truka Ukraine. Thank you to Jeff TE88, PFCR. Jeff, no links allowed in the chat. That is the rules. I'm sorry if you don't agree with that, but that is the rules. Oh, this is interesting. So I was telling you how a person I follow, Ewan McDonald, was reporting hearing like secondary explosions in Kyiv. TSN News, which is a Ukrainian news outlet, they're saying that during the Russian attack in Kyiv, there was a secondary detonation of cruise missiles, and a series of explosions were heard in the capital. So I don't know what happened there. Were they Ukrainian cruise missiles on the ground that exploded or something? I don't know. If I get more details, I'll let you know. But reportedly now there are multiple missiles, Russian missiles, headed towards Kyiv region. Oblast, the region. And here's Kyiv region on the map. So you can see in the middle of Kyiv region is Kyiv, the city. Don Stellan says ammo depot, perhaps something that like that got hit in Kyiv. I don't know. Waiting to get more updates. But missiles heading to Kyiv region now, according to. Oh, I'm hearing. Am I hearing reports? Are there explosions going on? I just heard an unconfirmed report online of explosions in the Kyiv area. I wouldn't be surprised if there were. Oh no, maybe but I don't know if I'm hearing that. Actually, you know what? I think that wasn't about that. I misinterpreted something. So strike that. No explosions yet. Hang on. Oh, trying to get you another report here. Oh, guys, I have another report from, this is the Kyiv district. This is not the Kyiv city, it's Kyiv district, the Kyiv region, which surrounds Kyiv city. So this is from the Kyiv military administration for the region. Let me show you this. Now, this was posted at 2 minutes ago. 2 minutes ago, they said, oh, by the way, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, 2 minutes ago, it was said, unfortunately, as a result of another massive Russian attack in the Buchan district. Now, I guess that's part of the Kyiv region. Or is it Bucha? Bucha, is it? Yes, Bucha. Bucha district in Kyiv region. One person died there. My sincerest condolences to his family and friends, says the official. Another 10 residents of the region were injured. 6 victims with shrapnel wounds and broken limbs were hospitalized in a local hospital. All necessary medical assistance is being provided. We are recording the consequences of the enemy attack in the Buchanan, Vishrad, and Brovary districts. This is outside of the city of Kyiv. Private homes, businesses, and other civilian infrastructure were damaged. All emergency services are working on the ground, and the consequences of the shelling are being eliminated. Russia is once again, he says, targeting civilians and civilian infrastructure. The enemy will definitely answer for every life taken, every home destroyed, and every crime committed. New from the Ukrainian Air Force, they say a drone over Zaporizhia region in Ukraine. But you can see a little earlier, about 9 minutes ago, they said a group of missiles are in the Chernihiv region, passing by Priluki and heading towards the Kyiv region. Oh, update. Ewan McDonald, who I follow, who's a journalist currently in Kyiv, says another huge explosion in western Kyiv. Lights went off for a few seconds, then returned. Ewan MacDonald, Macdonald, if you want to follow him. Ewan McDonald. I don't have any video yet from Kyiv. I don't know if we'll get any in during the broadcast. I think afterwards there'll be some live video posted of damage to buildings. Let me show you this. This is from 2 days ago. Look at this. From AP. Putin shrugs off fuel shortages as he ramps up attacks on Ukraine. Despite severe fuel shortages across Russia, President Putin appears unbothered by Ukraine's increasing attacks on his country's oil refineries. He has shrugged off the setback for one of the world's leading oil-producing nations as not critical, dismissed ceasefire proposals, and insisted the war will continue until his goals are met. Putin has described the attacks on Russian energy as an effort by the Ukraine to distract attention from its losses on the battlefield, although analysts say the advance of Russian forces has been stymied in recent months. Putin appears to believe his government can keep the fuel crisis from eroding his authority and support for the war he launched more than 4 years ago. Just 5 days ago, the Russian military launched a massive 11-hour barrage on Kyiv that was Wednesday night into Thursday morning, that killed at least 30 people. It was one of the deadliest attacks on Kyiv since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion. We have another attack going on tonight. Now, gas shortages worsen in Russia as more oil facilities are hit, says AP. There have been more than 50 reported Ukrainian attacks on oil refineries and other energy facilities in Russia and occupied Crimea since March. A barrage Ukrainian leaders have said is intended to pressure Moscow to end the war. Report of another one a short while ago in Russia as well. Unconfirmed report of an oil refinery hit. Was it Yaroslavl, I think? I'll let you know if I hear more. At the very least, these Ukrainian attacks have brought the war home even more poignantly for millions of Russians, shattering Putin's narrative of the conflict as something that doesn't affect the lives of ordinary people in his country. An estimated 1/3 of Russia's oil refining capacity has been cut off, says AP, according to an expert they talked to, Chris Weifert. The attacks have inflicted lasting damage that will be costly to fix. Despite significant air defenses protecting Russia's capital, a top refinery in Moscow has been hit twice. The second strike on June 18th set it on fire, damaging key equipment that will reportedly take until the end of the year to repair. With gasoline production in Russia reduced by roughly 17% to 850,000 barrels per day, rationing has been introduced in many regions, and motorists have had to wait in line for hours to refuel. In an effort to ease the fuel deficit in Russia, the government has allowed production of lower quality gasoline with higher sulfur content through the year's end. Crimea, which Russia illegally annexed from Ukraine in 2014, has faced the worst fuel shortages. Gasoline sales to individuals have been periodically halted there altogether. I'm going to read a little more here. It's a very interesting article, just to summarize what's going on. This is from AP, then I'll take a few comments. Putin chaired a meeting of government officials last weekend to discuss the fuel shortages. In televised that's a week ago, last weekend. In televised statements, he acknowledged that the country was going through a difficult period. He pledged to accelerate repairs of energy facilities and said Russia would consider importing gasoline to help make up for what he described as temporary shortages. He also said Russia's arms industry will boost production of air defense systems to fend off future Ukrainian attacks. Putin portrayed the Ukrainian strikes as an attempt to divide Russian society, halt Moscow's offensive, and try to force the Kremlin into negotiations on terms advantageous to our adversary. We will not give them that chance, said Putin. While Putin said Ukraine's long-range strikes on Russian oil facilities have absolutely no effect on the situation at the front, Western military analysts say mid-range strikes on the Russian army in recent months have hampered military logistics and slowed the tempo of its advance, leaving the battlefield in a stalemate. On Friday, Putin visited the Russian military headquarters, directing the action in Ukraine to receive a report on the capture of the city of Kostyantynivka after weeks of intense street battles. He hailed it as a key step toward capturing the nearby cities of Slavyansk and Kramatorsk, the key remaining strongholds in the so-called forest belt of heavily fortified cities in the Donetsk region that remain in Ukraine's hands. He said the capture of that city was of major strategic importance. There has been no immediate comment from Ukrainian officials on that claim. Earlier Friday, the Ukrainian military general staff reported repelling 24 Russian assaults near that city. I don't know if Ukraine made any claims about that city the last couple days. See if I have any updates here on that. Well, I am seeing a report here that from today that says that, hold on. France 24 said President Zelensky of Ukraine said today that Russia did not control the town of Kostyantynivka. Zelensky said in his daily evening address that fighting is continuing for Kostyantynivka. Okay, now, hang on a moment here. Looking for updates. One of our viewers said there was another hit in Kyiv. Did you see that on Intel cams or something? Who said that? That was Dubisai. Deborah Hennessy thinks Russia is mad because Ukraine has cut off Crimea from Russian oligarchs and tourists. Deborah thinks that Ukraine has been taking out all of their oil refinery storage tanks in both ends of the Kerch, and Putin is losing badly. That's what Deborah thinks. Let's see here. Hold on a moment. I am not seeing a lot of new reporting right now. Truka Ukraine says a cruise missile in the Sumy region. Those missiles that were heading to Kyiv, I haven't heard much about. I don't know what happened. Hold on. Might have an update for you. Okay, here is an update from the Ukrainian Air Force. They say probably, I think when they say rocket, that probably means missile. In the Sumy region, passing by Lebedin and heading towards the Poltava region. Matt O'Connor thinks the earlier missiles were intercepted, the ones we heard about a few minutes ago. See, this was 20 minutes ago, a group of missiles heading towards the Kyiv region. I don't know if those were all intercepted or what. I didn't see an update. Oh, update. What is this? Okay, launching of cruise missiles in the Zaporizhia region, which, if I remember, I think Russia controls some of that region. Let's check here. So Zaporizhia region is here. There, see, it says, oh, you can't see. Now you can see on Google Maps. So there's Ukraine. It's in the southeast of Ukraine. There's Zaporizhia region. Now, if I go to, so missiles are being launched from there. Cruise missiles launched from there by Russia, according to the Ukrainian Air Force. And if we go to deep state map here, yes. So the region, there's Zaporizhia here. Isn't that Zaporizhia region right here? Yeah, right here. So the red part of Zaporizhia region is occupied by Russia. And what we just heard from the Ukrainian Air Force is that cruise missiles have been launched from the Zaporizhia region. Almost certain they mean by Russia. Oh, hold on a second. Update from the Air Force. So they said launching of cruise missiles in the Zaporizhia region. Also, activity of hostile tactical aviation in the northeastern direction. Threat of use of aviation strike weapons for frontline regions in Ukraine. So this attack is still going on. Steve says if Ukraine were winning, none of that would be shaded red. James WR thinks Russia is getting their butt kicked. Oh, I just saw a report from Truka, Ukraine, news outlet in Ukraine. They say the explosions and sounds you can hear now in Kyiv are the consequences of the Russian attack on the city. Nothing is currently being recorded towards or above the capital. So they say that there's some explosion sounds that have been heard in recent minutes in Ukraine, but that's not from in Kyiv, but that's not from new missiles coming in or drones. I don't know if it's secondary explosions or what. I don't know. That's what they're saying. Where is this? There have been some reports of secondary explosions in Kyiv. So an account I follow, Tabs and Warfront Witness, claims, and I don't have the rights to the video, but they posted a video. They say secondary explosions were reported after a suspected ammunition storage site in Kyiv was hit. So it sounds like maybe what has happened is that an ammunition storage site was hit and there's continuous explosions going off that are not due to new missiles coming in. This is interesting. This was just posted right here from, I think it's the Polish, is this the Polish Air Force? Polish Armed Forces. Look at this. They said operations of our military aviation in our airspace in Poland related to the strikes by Russia on Ukraine have been concluded. The launched ground-based air defense systems and radar reconnaissance have returned to standard operational activities. We inform that no violation of Polish airspace has been recorded. So I guess when Russia has aviation up, I believe, maybe to fire missiles at Ukraine, Poland will put up assets into the air. They say, we thank NATO, NATO Aircom, and the French Air Force, whose aircraft helped ensure safety in Polish skies today. We also extend thanks to Dutch Armed Forces for air defense system support. Polish Army continuously monitors the situation on the territory of Ukraine and remains in constant readiness to ensure the security of Polish airspace. So just a reminder, here is Ukraine, here is Poland, here is Russia. Although there is Kaliningrad, which is part of Russia, which is this enclave right here, which is next to Poland. So the second major attack on Kyiv by Russia in 5 days. We're giving you an update here, giving you some live updates. Thanks, by the way, to Mr. Redskins 1989 for being a member. Thanks so much. I just saw a report. This is interesting, very interesting. So I was telling you a short while ago that there were unconfirmed reports of a Russian oil refinery in Yaroslavl, Russia, being attacked. Well, I just saw from Interfax, which I believe is Russian state media, Interfax, they just said Interfax is a Russian news agency headquartered in Moscow. I don't know if they're strictly state media. I mean, it's a major news outlet in Russia, and Russia does exercise significant control over the media. Hold on. Russia on the Press Freedom Index, by the way, according to Reporters Without Borders, just to mention this, Reporters Without Borders says Russia's score is 172 out of 180 on the Press Freedom Index. They say, since Russia's large-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, almost all independent media have been banned, blocked, and or declared foreign agents or undesirable organizations. All others are subject to military censorship. So that is from Reporters Without Borders. Anyways, what I wanted to mention to you, sorry for that delay, Interfax is reporting that the governor of the region where Yaroslavl is says traffic on the outskirts of Yaroslavl, Russia, heading towards Moscow has been blocked due to an attack by Ukrainian drones. So it does sound like maybe that there's a Ukrainian drone attack in Yaroslavl. Cornbird says, what day are we on the 3-day special operation? JD channel viewer says, stop watching CNN and Ukraine propaganda. Russia has been consistently marching forward on all fronts for years. They've taken every major city and town they've come upon. Last of Donbass will fall by end of summer. That's from JD channel viewer, our viewer. Hang on a moment here. Institute for the Study of War had an update yesterday about the Russian campaign. They say that Russian President Putin used a staged meeting 2 days ago with several Russian commanders to make greatly exaggerated claims of Russian advances that do not match battlefield realities in order to construct a narrative of continuous Russian military successes. Putin and other Russian military commanders heavily aggrandized. I think that means added false things to, but I want to look this up. Basically, to make something appear greater or more impressive than it is. I'm seeing that definition. Also, Institute for the Study of War says the Russian Ministry of Defense and other Russian sources are publishing large quantities of footage that may be AI altered to falsely claim Russian exaggerated claims and complicate individual footage verification. Putin used the July 3rd meeting with Russian commanders to signal his commitment to continuing the war in Ukraine as he has been. And there's a map here. I'm going to post a link to this report from the Institute for Study of War. You can get the whole report there and other reports about this war. So there's the map there from them, where you see in the red, the black areas are Russian territory that Russia took, I believe, in 2014 and 2015. The rest, the black outline, and then the rest of the red outline is territory that Russia took after the invasion started in 2022. The green circles are significant fighting in the last 24 hours. There is Kyiv right there. Also, yesterday, Institute for the Study of War said Ukrainian forces continued their long-range strike campaign against Russian oil and energy infrastructure and military assets in Russia yesterday. On July 4th, Ukrainian forces struck the St. Petersburg oil terminal and the Kronstadt naval base. Ukrainian strikes against Russian oil infrastructure are degrading the Russian oil industry. The Ukrainian General Staff claims that Ukrainian strikes reduced the Russian oil refining industry to 42.47% of its total design capacity, they claim. Oh, and also something from today's update. I didn't even see they had an update from today. Institute for the Study of War. They say that the Kremlin appears to be conducting a targeted information campaign that aims to highlight the claimed Russian seizure of Kostyantynivka to the Trump administration and Western information space. Institute for the Study of War says Russian forces have infiltrated into the city but not seized it, despite Putin and Medvedev's claims. Kremlin officials regularly exaggerate tactical Russian advances and present false and fabricated evidence as part of a wider cognitive warfare effort attempting to portray the Ukrainian front lines as collapsing, a coordinated information campaign that aims to pressure Ukraine and its partners into capitulating to Russia's demands in negotiations, says Institute for the Study of War. They also say that Russia continues to face mounting manpower allocation challenges as it struggles to build out a robust air defense umbrella to defend Russia's vast rear. I will post a link to that as well if you want to read that article, that longer report. Okay, now, Sloth claims that only 2 of the 10 largest refineries in Russia has not been hit yet. Is that true, Sloth on Stims? I have to look that up. Gemini says it's true. Where's the source? RBC Ukraine news outlet, they say Ukrainian drones have knocked out 8 of 10 of Russia's 10 largest refineries. That's a Ukraine-based outlet, RBC Ukraine. Diane Allworth says they're having to import gasoline. That is true from what I have read. Hang on, see if I can pull up something about that. So Reuters reported 4 days ago that, where is it here? Russia buys gasoline from India to tackle shortages. They say Russia has started imports of gasoline from India to help in an effort to mitigate fuel shortages triggered by Ukrainian attacks on Russia's energy infrastructure. Reuters says that fuel shortages are being felt across Russia's 11 time zones with rationing, long lines at filling stations, and a record gasoline price increase. Let me just show you updates. Okay, I just saw something. Look at this. This is potentially good news. Hey guys, look at this. Look what I just saw. Kyiv City Military Administration says I thought it said it had been canceled. No, this is not good news. I thought it said air raid siren canceled. No, it said air raid siren has sounded. New air raid siren in Kyiv 4 minutes ago. I thought it said canceled, but it did not say canceled. It said air raid siren has sounded. That's 4 minutes ago. The state Kyiv region. Wait, now this says all sirens all clear. Now I'm confused. I'm seeing 2 different things. What's correct? This says all siren all clear. Keep an eye on reports and return to shelter if the siren sounds again. Well, which is it? That's the city-state administration. The city says air raid siren has sounded. Maybe that's a bad translation. I don't know. But social news says air raid alert. Now I'm confused. Yeah, E-monitor says missile danger alert. Is it possible that the alert was canceled for the region, but not for the city? Oh, it's so this is Kyiv region. They say in this district air raid alert canceled. In this district air raid alert. So in certain districts there are air raid alerts, and in other districts this is district by district in Kyiv region. You can see these were all just posted in 5 minutes ago. So in certain regions the sirens have gone off. In other regions they are going on. In other parts of Kyiv they're going on. But the Kyiv City Military Administration just said air raid siren has sounded about 6 minutes ago. Truka Ukraine said lights out. I guess that's part of the what they do when the missiles come in. Update. Unfortunate update from the Kyiv City Military Administration. 5 people now dead in the Russian attack on Kyiv. The death toll tonight is up to 5. That is according to the military administration in Kyiv. Looking at the bottom there. Now, so this is the second major attack on Kyiv in less than a week. Frankly speaking, heard an explosion on Intel cam and flashes. So now one thing to keep in mind, in Kyiv, there are reports of secondary explosions tonight, possibly from an ammunition dump that has been hit. Oh, Intel cams has smoke on the screen. Now I can't steal their footage, but I will post a link to Intel cams. If you go to Intel cams on YouTube and you look at camera 8 from Kyiv, there is smoke there, but I don't know if that's something new. I mean, no, they were showing smoke on that camera like 45 minutes ago. So I wonder if that's just remnant, if that camera 8 is just remnant from before. I don't know what the exact camera is there. Raisback says Russia buying its own gas back from India. I haven't heard that. The story I saw said Russia was buying gasoline from India to mitigate fuel shortages. Just so you know, the time right now in Kyiv is what's about 5 a.m. 5:18 a.m. Five now dead, at least, in the latest Russian attack on Kyiv. John Rocker says Kyiv is getting hammered. Give me a moment. So I was just checking a couple of things here. PW360, our viewer, says speculation is Russia would stage a false flag attack on Belarus and blame Poland and then attack something in Poland in response? I haven't heard. Was that in the Telegraph article? I don't remember it being there. Maybe I missed that there. Or maybe I don't remember that being emphasized. Maybe I forgot. Oh, one thing in the article said, no, I don't see that there. Anyways, I don't know where our viewer is hearing that from. That was PW360 who wrote in. Danny G thinks that would be crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't. In terms of, there's still air raid sirens going off. Oh, now it's getting. I'm starting to see some more pictures. Hold on a second. Thought I just saw some pictures. If you're wondering, Kyiv sunrise is 4:53 a.m. So it's already daylight there in Kyiv. Julio thinks this is Putin's never-ending war. I'm waiting to get updates. Yeah, again, the Intel Cam 8, which is a Kyiv cam, has been showing smoke for, I want to say, close to an hour. So I don't know where that smoke is coming from. Oh, here's an update here from AP. Look, about the attack we've been talking about. Russian missile and drone attack on Ukraine's capital kills at least 5. That is a photo of a building that was hit, apparently, building damaged by the attack. Hold on, what other photos do they have? Oh, I have some new photos, and let me get these photos for you. Let me get the photos for you. Hang on. Hang on. I'm going to pull up these photos here. I think it's all the same building. This is a building that was damaged in Kyiv during this attack. Okay, these are AP photos from that article. So there is one building that was damaged during this attack. Now, 5 people are dead in the attack. I don't know if any of them have been found at that building. I just don't know. Here's another photo, same building there. Wow. Numerous residential buildings damaged, according to the local government in Kyiv tonight. Zetin Hap says there are insane videos on X. U.S. Rights and Freedom says sad, more civilian structures attacked. Look at this. Terrible. Andrea Holder says that is really bad. Russia launched waves of missiles and drones targeting Kyiv overnight into Monday that killed at least 5 people, authorities said, hours after Ukraine's president warned that another large-scale attack was imminent. A residential building in the Podilsky district partially collapsed, said the head of Kyiv's city military administration in a post on Telegram. In the Darnitsia district, several multi-story buildings were damaged, and people were believed to be trapped under the rubble. The attack, which was still underway Monday morning, I haven't heard it's over, included waves of ballistic and cruise missiles as well as drones. Explosions echoed across the city as civilians sought shelter in metro stations. Ukrainian President Zelensky had warned hours earlier of another large-scale Russian attack on the city. Monday's attack comes after a combined Russian attack killed at least 31 people in Kyiv last Thursday. I think it was Wednesday into Thursday. And by the way, remember, it's the 6th of July there. It's the day before the NATO summit, which starts on Tuesday, where President Trump will be meeting with President Zelensky. The number of injured has, 7 now dead. 7 now dead in this attack, the toll continues to rise. You can see, look at the bottom here. This is from the head of the Kyiv City Military Administration. As of 5:20 a.m., 9 minutes ago, the number of injured is now 24 people. Meanwhile, rescuers have unblocked 2 more bodies from under the rubble, bringing the death toll to 7. He says Russians are murderers. I believe that's all in the city, those 7 dead. Nina Drew says 7 dead in Kyiv. Hammer says they sure are. Evie Shore says they are. Drone alert now, which you can see right here from the Ukrainian Air Force at the bottom. Chernihiv region, unmanned aerial vehicles flying past Talaleyivka, heading towards the southwest. Is this heading towards Kyiv? Let's look this up. Drones flying southwest past Talaleyivka. So here is a map. All right, there's Talal. Oh, you're not going to see in a second. There's Talaleyivka. Yes, so those drones could be headed towards Kyiv, because what the Ukrainian Air Force said is that the drones are flying past that city and they're heading southwest. Well, Kyiv is to the southwest. So we could have drones heading towards Kyiv now. What's the distance between there? Roughly speaking, about 60 miles. I don't know how fast those drones are flying. If they're flying 60 miles an hour, it might take them an hour to get there, if that's where they're going. Maybe they're flying faster. Shahed 136 drones, says Gemini, fly about 110 to 115 miles an hour. They have now I guess Forbes says that they have some jet drones that can go much faster. Forbes had an article back in March saying, where is it here? Trying to find the speed. Well, the Telegraph had an article a few days ago said that Russia has new jet-powered drones that are capable of reaching over 300 miles an hour in speed. Those are almost 3 times as fast as the Iranian-designed propeller-driven predecessors. And according to the Telegraph, Ukraine says Russia is increasingly uses those jet-powered drones to target Kyiv. And according to the Telegraph, these new jet-powered drones that Russia has can't be shot. They're too fast for Ukraine's interceptor drones. So missiles have to be used against these new jet drones, according to the Telegraph. But those are still the minority. So, according to the Telegraph, they say that of the roughly 500 drones fired in an attack last week at Kyiv, only about 30 were these jet-powered drones. Wow. Things keep evolving on both sides. Hang on a moment here. See if I have any updates for you. Here is an update from the Kyiv region. This is not Kyiv City, this is Kyiv region on the bottom there. Now, there's not an all clear for everywhere in Kyiv region. Some locations have an all clear, just to be clear there. They say 24 people have been injured in an attack on the capital of Kyiv City. 14 of them were hospitalized, in particular 2 children ages 7 and 8. By the way, 7 people reported killed in the city overnight, so far. In Darnitsky district, debris hit a 25-story building on the 4th floor. People are trapped in the upper floors. 22 people were rescued from the building. 2 people were found dead in that building. Rescuers are working to unblock people on the upper floors. Also in the Darnitsky district, a fire broke out on the 24th and 23rd floors of a 30-story residential building. Residents are being evacuated. In the Podilsky district, as a result of fragments hitting a 21-story building, there was partial destruction between the 3rd and 4th floors. In the Obolinsky district, there is a fire in a warehouse building and fragments hit a non-residential area. I am not seeing many updates at the moment. By the way, thank you so much to I owe a couple thank yous. Renee Lorraine from Canada, thank you. Suzanne Olson 16127, thank you for being a member. Melissa Level. Melissa thinks Russia would like to get NATO involved. With the strain between NATO and US, it is a perfect time for them to force an involvement, hoping to end the organization completely. That's what Melissa thinks. Thanks, Melissa, for your support. Also, Nove2200, thanks for being a member. Mr. Redskins, thanks for being a member. I'll give it a few minutes here. You know, I can't tell. It's like, are we getting sort of to the close of this particular attack, or are they could launch more missiles? I just don't know. But it's been going on for hours. It's the second, which is second major attack on Kyiv in 5 days. By the way, thanks also to Kendra Fox on Twitch and Annie Cush on Twitch. Thank you. And Ranker102 on Twitch. And I'm guessing the toll, unfortunately, might rise as they go through these buildings in Ukraine that have been damaged. All right. Well, look, you know, I came on there to update you guys about this attack. I'm not hearing much updates at the moment. If there's some kind of huge developments, we can come on the air again. Our viewer Steve M1STE says Russia is up to no good again. But that's what I have right now. So a number of buildings damaged, 7 people dead, 24 injured in Kyiv city alone. And again, the second major attack on Kyiv by Russia in 5 days with the NATO summit coming up. Oh, President Trump will be giving a news conference at the NATO summit before he comes home. So I think we'll be covering that on Wednesday, that news conference from President Trump at the NATO summit. So I think for now, I'm going to start wrapping up this stream. Again, I'll be keeping my eye on things. If there's some huge development, we can always come on here and do another stream. But we hadn't kind of done a stream just on Ukraine in a while, so I wanted to come on the air and kind of give a general cover this specific attack, but also talk about some of the general state of things. So we very well might have more coverage about Ukraine soon. So I really appreciate you guys being here. Thoughts with the people of Kyiv and other areas attacked in Ukraine, and condolences to the families of the victims there tonight. But we'll keep an eye on things. If there's big developments, we can do another stream. Also, I will post updates on my X account where I post news when I'm not on the air. At Lookner on X, you can show it on the screen here. You can follow me over there. At Lookner, oops. What did I do here? At Lookner on X. But I appreciate people being here for the stream, and I appreciate you letting me read your comments and questions on the air, and thanks for sending me updates. So we'll keep an eye on the situation there, but it's been going on for 5. It's now the war is into its 5th year in Ukraine after the Russia invasion of Ukraine in 2022. Okay, so if you want, you can subscribe, follow the channel, Agenda Free TV. We cover all kinds of live breaking news without an agenda. And also, I would suggest turn on the notifications for the channel. I never know when big news is going to happen, when I'm going to jump on the air. But if you want to get a notification sent to you before we go on the air every time, you can sign up for the free notifications. The mods will post the link in the chat to sign up for the free notifications. Also, you can find it in the description of this video on YouTube and Facebook and Rumble. You can find the link to the notifications in the description, but sign up for the notifications. 6-foot tree, our viewer thinks protracted war is the goal. Huge shout out to our moderators who have been here. I really appreciate our moderators. Ruth over on YouTube moderating there. Thank you, Ruth. And all of our other YouTube moderators, our Twitch moderators like Bash and Girl, Idaho Star, I Got That Fire, Matthew Kohai 3, Sarah and Surly Dev, Linda Belk, Larry, Misha over there on X. Our Facebook moderators. Hang on a second here. Like Michael Fergal, K. Lowry Body, Paul Anderson, our other Facebook moderators, and K. Body, and also Lovey moderating over there on Rumble. Also, I do want to mention we do have a chat where you can chat for free with other viewers. The Discord chat, a bunch of our viewers like doing the Discord chat for the channel. Check that out if you like. It's the same link as the free notifications link. Big thanks to our Discord moderators who help out with the Discord chat, by the way. Really appreciate it. Also, another good way to get updates about the channel and to find out when we're going live is to follow us on X. If you are on X, notifications. Oops, now I'm hearing two of myself. At Agenda Free TV, always post there live. Always post there before we're going on the air, and also post updates about the channel there at Agenda Free TV. And if you're watching on YouTube, I would suggest turn on the YouTube notifications. Another way to get notified when we're live. If you want to turn on the YouTube notifications on YouTube, what you need to do is subscribe to the channel, then click the bell and choose all notifications. If you've already subscribed, make sure you click the bell and choose all notifications. Big thanks also to our subscribers over on Facebook like Diane Allworth and Dolly Clark and Kay Lowry Body and Michael Clayton and all of our other subscribers there. Really appreciate your support there. All of our Twitch subscribers, such as No Goal, Wall Street, Shaggy, Kendra Fox, Fornax, Sarah, Uncle Fester, Jax Animals, Graybeard Games, Bastion Girl, Devil Doc, J Corn, Huckleberry 1955. Did I say Uncle Fester? Simp Nasty Scrimp. And Jazzy Renee. And all of our other Twitch subscribers, Graybeard Games that I get, thank you. Also, just everybody who supported the channel earlier in the stream, thank you so much. That's really nice of you. That's what allows the channel to exist, is your support. So huge thanks to you. Thank you so much. Also, our YouTube members, people like Dean R, Chino, Evelyn in Maine, CAC813, Wendy Lance, Michael Avery, Troy's Reviews, and Anita Modolewski, Cogito, Bluesy Girl, Paula Faust, Rocket J Squirrel, I'm Here Bingo, Pat W, all of our other School Bro, and all of our other members, and all of our other viewers as well. Dolly Farton, Stacy TW, our member, Tane Norther. Nathan Oliver thinks Zelensky is the problem. That's our viewer, Nathan. Thanks, Julio, for watching. Hoopa Ball. Flying Dustman, Timido1, thank you for watching. And all of our other viewers. Sarah Smile, thanks for watching. All right. So I'll keep an eye on things, but that is our update right now. All right. You have been watching our live coverage of the latest Russian major missile attack on Ukraine, the second major Russian on Kyiv, the capital, the second major one in 5 days. That is it for now. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon with more live breaking news coverage right here at Agenda Free TV.